Why the Memphis Grizzlies are going to absolutely break the NBA. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Memphis Grizzlies and why I think they are going to absolutely break the NBA this season. Memphis has sort of been a forgotten team in the NBA the last couple of seasons for a handful of reasons. Last year, of course, they missed the playoffs and were one of the worst teams in the NBA. Nearly every player on their roster and guy who would get minutes on any given night was injured. And of course, Ja Morant being the story point of the Grizzlies the last couple of years. He was suspended for the first 25 games last season and then only played 9 games before getting hurt for the rest of the year. And then the year prior, they lost to the Lakers in round 1 of the 2023 playoffs. And so it seemed like this last year, the big question was, were the Grizzlies ever in a spot to come back and really make a push in the playoffs, right? Because since Ja Morant was out for the first 25 games, the big question was, would that hold the Grizzlies back enough to not be able to make a playoff push? And of course, because of his other injury that he got in his shoulder, I believe it was, they had to just totally tank the season and ended up with, I believe, the 9th pick in this year's draft. And so in that sense, you could say it was all worth it. But I really do believe that if Ja Morant was fully healthy and was playing like he was in those first 9 games, that he would have had an amazing season and would have led the Grizzlies deep into the playoffs. And just in general, it feels like that the Grizzlies have been out of the picture in the Western Conference the last couple of years, but I think that they're ready to come back, and I think they're potentially ready to shock the NBA. Before I get too far into the video, I just want to say thank you guys for being here and watching the video. Normally I make Blazers content, and so if you normally watch my videos, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about hearing me talk about other teams that aren't the Portland Trail Blazers. Let me know what you think. I don't watch too much Memphis during the year and the regular season, but I watch them as much of a normal average fan, of course. And so let me know about my thoughts and my kind of synopsis on the team. Let me know if it's accurate. And of course, leave a comment. Let me know that you're a Memphis fan and subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to start trying to branch out a bit more and make other sorts of videos. And so I'd greatly appreciate your support. And of course, just subscribing and liking the video as a whole is the best way to support the channel. So make sure to do that before we get started for some good luck. But let's just get into it. So when talking about the Memphis Grizzlies, you can't really bring up that team without talking about their star player, Ja Morant. He's one of the NBA's best young players. And there's a lot of stats to really back this up, as he finished top 7 in MVP voting at just 22 years old. That is absolutely insane. And I think if you were to go back in time to the 2021 and 2022 seasons, everyone was saying that Ja Morant was the next guy up. He was the next guard of the future. And I think since then, guys like SGA and Luka have really solidified themselves as the Western Conference's guards. But I think Ja Morant is still talented enough to be talked about in that caliber of player. I really do think that if he has a great full season under his belt, he could be in the conversation for MVP. And this is just extra exciting for the Grizzlies, right? Because the NBA is full of international talent, but Ja Morant kind of stands out as one of the best American-born prospects in a long, long time. As you see a lot of guys like Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, of course, Giannis Antetokounmpo, or Joel Embiid. And all those guys are great, and I'm so glad that they're NBA, but, you know, they're those international guys. They came over after playing time in the Euro League for the most part, or their own country's league, obviously. But it's fun to see a guy like Ja Morant, who it feels like the NBA hasn't seen in a long time, as for a while there, you had guys like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, who were just American stars. And so to see a guy like Ja Morant burst onto the scene at such a young age is a fun thing to see. And okay, sure, the Memphis Grizzlies have their star in Ja Morant, but what is Ja Morant without being surrounded by good depth pieces? I'll be honest, he wouldn't be that much, as any player can go on and lead a team into the 8th seed in the playoffs, but usually they lose in the first round, and so a team needs depth, and luckily for the Memphis Grizzlies, they have that. They have their versatile big man in Jaren Jackson Jr., who's a defensive player of the year candidate. He's an all-star and has the talent to lead a pretty good team by himself. And then you have guys like Desmond Bane, who's an all-star level caliber player and is a perfect fit alongside Ja Morant's athletic and explosiveness. And then of course, to kind of round out their young core, they have Zach Edey, who they just drafted. Now, as I mentioned before, I am a Blazer fan, so I think that Donovan Clingan is the overall better player. However, Zach Edey really did give Donovan Clingan a run for his money in the NCAA finals. And Zach Edey is just one of those guys that does what you need for him on the stat sheet. He gets the points, he gets the rebounds, he plays a bit of defense. And again, he really went to work against Donovan Clingan and played against him quite well. And I think his game will translate well to the NBA, which is why he's currently the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year title this year. But I think the big question with Zach Edey is, in his rookie year or in the next 2 to 3 seasons, can he be as good and as beneficial to the Memphis Grizzlies as Steven Adams was? Steven Adams, of course, being traded away to the Houston Rockets at the trade deadline last year for for just some salary filler and second round picks. I think what Steven Adams brought to the Memphis Grizzlies was a bit underrated, and I'm kind of curious to see how that chemistry works between Zach Edey and Ja Morant. So the Memphis Grizzlies, they have a full, talented, well-rounded roster, but one thing that I don't think is talked about enough is how the league has sort of moved on from the Grizzlies as a whole. As the Grizzlies had a few great years, even winning back-to-back 50-plus win seasons in the 2021-2022 seasons, but just as they seemed like they were going to make that sort of push like the Dallas Mavericks, the Timberwolves, or even the Nuggets did, they were riddled with injuries and suspensions, which was such a bummer because it seemed like they were ready to make that leap into the conference finals or even a contender. But now that they're back with a lot better health, I really think that this could be the Grizzlies' year. A lot of people are going to place the Grizzlies probably in that 5 to 7 range as far as seeding goes in the West, but I honestly think they could be a top 2 or 3 seed in the West. They have the depth, they have the talent, they can compete against just about any Western playoff team. Like, think of a team that the Grizzlies couldn't go up against. They could compete against guys like OKC. They have the length, they have the defensive power in Jaren Jackson Jr. and Zach Edey. They have the explosive athletic scoring ability of Desmond Bane and Ja Morant, of course. And I feel like they have a good front office and coaching staff around them to take them deep into the playoffs. Even against teams like the Timberwolves, who gave almost any team a run for their money last year, I think the Grizzlies would be a great matchup for them. And so I think as long as injuries don't haunt them too much this year, I think they'll be up there as one of the best teams in the West, competing with the likes of Minnesota, OKC, and even Dallas. I think the team is overall very well rounded and is kind of a picture of what most teams should strive for when they're rebuilding. Now, of course, a lot of that takes luck, as not every team is able to get the second overall pick and draft the next generational guard of the NBA. But I do think they have such a well-rounded team between the front office, coaching staff, players, and depth that I think they're going to shock a lot of people this year and be a problem for the NBA. But make sure to comment below and let me know your thoughts on the Memphis Grizzlies. If you're a Memphis fan, again, please make sure to comment and let me know what you think about my take on the Grizzlies. Is it realistic? Is it plausible? Did I miss any player or someone that's really important that I should have talked about? And if you're a Memphis fan, welcome to the channel, and I hope you hit that subscribe button and stick around for more NBA content. Comment what team or topic you guys want to see me cover next in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe and like the video to support the channel. I appreciate you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you have a blessed rest of your day, and until next time, I'll see you later.